He just commented at the awards media day yesterday that he's open to returning to Ottawa.
I've told you about Karlsson, man. I'm coming like at first. Okay, if you want to make this deal work, the only way you do it is Thomas Chabot out, Karlsson in. That's what you would do, and then you got to eat some salary somewhere. This is why I think, and because I've been thinking about this the last couple of days, I still believe this. I think Ottawa can make some noise in the playoffs 2 years from now. I think they're a playoff team this year coming up, especially with new ownership, especially with the resources they're going to have. Claude Giroux in the last year of his contract will be 2 years from now. You bring in an Erik Karlsson, add him to the mix, because people will say, well, defensively, Karlsson's not there. But to me, there's not a lot of difference defensively between Chabot and Karlsson. But there's a lot of difference offensively. So it's I got to give it some more thought. But if that move is going to happen, who knows? Anything could happen. That salary that Chabot is making, what is it, $8 million? $8 million off the books. You bring Karlsson in, who's making 11.5. I think roughly their contracts expire around the same time too, don't they, Wally? I think.
Yeah, but I feel like
I know the age, but I've thought of this as well. You get Karlsson where the Sharks, maybe another team, are taking some of that salary, and all of a sudden you're able to pay Karlsson maybe less than you're paying Chabot. And I think a couple other things have to happen if you make this move. You go out and you bring in another defenseman as well, another good top four defenseman, is because I think you need 5. Vegas had 6, but you need 5 really good D, and I think if you brought Karlsson, and I'd love to see another really good, just solid defensive defenseman. Like I threw a name at you before the show, like Brett Pesce's sitting there, 28 years old, would fit really nicely in the Ottawa Senators core. Like there's just a guy that, he plays D. He reminds me of a guy you see on the Vegas Golden Knights blue line. He's 6'3", he defends, he can move the puck. You add him to the core, or a guy like Mackenzie Weegar out in Calgary. There's some D out there that are very attractive that I would love to see part of the Ottawa Senators. That's going to get them that much closer.
I would say Mackenzie Weegar would be untouchable because he just signed a long extension. But everybody seems to be getting off the bus in Calgary. So anyway.
But to finish my thought on Karlsson,
yeah.
At first I thought no, but then I'm thinking Giroux is still going to be a really good player 2 years from now. Karlsson, it's an intriguing thought, especially the way, and especially his comments right now about how, man, could you imagine the buzz in the city? You bring Karlsson back, how electric it could be. It is Brady Tkachuk's team, and that's the thing right now. Tkachuk is now the captain. He's the leader. But I think Karlsson is at the point in his career right now where he just wants to win. And I love the moxie of Erik Karlsson when he's saying, I don't care about the points. Like he is, when a guy says he wants to, basically it's, because when you're retired, you think about this, you're like, man, I really miss playing when it counts. And Karlsson wants to play when it counts. And sure. I love those comments. Would I love to see him back here in Ottawa? Absolutely. I just think he's one of those guys. Hey, he made the Ottawa Senators cool. Like he's one of those guys that is when you look about Karlsson, the way he acts, the way he carries himself, the way he plays the game, just brought a lot of moxie to the team.
It's so just the cap hit is 11.5 for Erik Karlsson. The cap hit for, as we know, is $8 million for Thomas Chabot. His actual salary comes down a bit. There is that,
and Wally, and I'm not saying I don't like Thomas Chabot as a player. I love Thomas Chabot as a player. I think he's a great player. I think if you don't make that move, I think Ottawa still is, in my opinion, a couple of years away from contending. I just think it's interesting because it's out there now that San Jose is going to eat some of the contract. At 11.5, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But then you think, where I just look at Giroux, where he's still going to be good in a couple of years. I believe with the right moves, the right tinkering, obviously a goaltender, what you're going to do with that position. I really believe this team is good enough to contend in a couple of years. I really do.